Okay, boxing fans, right now I'm talking about Miguel Cotto versus Austin Trout. Miguel Cotto is 37 wins, 30 of which by way of knockout, to 3 defeats, 2 of which by way of knockout. That's a 40-fight career against Austin, no doubt, Trout. 25 wins undefeated, 14 of those wins by way of knockout. I'm just going to go through all the advantages and say which fighter brings what to the table. Starting with the power, and I've got to give that slightly to Austin Trout. You know, he is the natural 154-pound boxer. He's a good boxer puncher. He's coming out of a southpaw style. His knockout percentage isn't actually great, just at over 56%, with only two knockouts in his last 7 title fights. Yeah. Whereas you look at Miguel Cotto, who has 30 knockouts, but I'm going to narrow that down for you, okay? At 154 pounds, Miguel Cotto only has 2 stoppages out of his 4 fights at 154 pounds. That's a 50% KO ratio. However, one of those was a Yuri Foreman stoppage, who was injured with like a shattered knee or some shit. And the other one was what's his face, who said he injured his sorry, I can't say what's his face, Mayorga, who said he'd injured his neck or some shit. Basically, everyone's injured who fights Miguel Cotto, aren't they? Put it like that. I don't know if you're going to accept that as a reason, but I'm going to give the advantage just slightly to Austin Trout. When you look at Miguel Cotto, however, I do say his power is decreasing. You know, you look at him at 140 pounds, and he was totally unstoppable. You know, let's be real. Unstoppable 140 pounds. 80% puncher, 20% boxer. Brilliant. What I love. Yeah. Next, at 147 pounds, which was his premium weight. This is where he was most well known, most effective. Everything was going for him at this weight, yeah. He was like 60% puncher, 40% boxer. He was the best of both worlds. And I think that's probably what has got him all the fans that he has today, really. And now when you look at him now at 154 pounds, you can pretty much see he's at the end of the road almost, okay? Has he still got it? Is the timing right? We don't know. We'll see in this fight, you know. But you have to realise he's now like 80% boxer, 20% puncher. It's a total turnaround from 140 pounds. You look at the speed, and I'm going to give that to Miguel Cotto. Like I said, coming up from the smaller weights, he's a smaller frame, he's not weight drained right now, he's got good efficient boxing skills. All of this will give Miguel Cotto a decent speed advantage, which he'll need to get in and out of range, considering Austin Trout is taller and has the longer reach. What Austin Trout brings is he actually has decent quick bursts of speed, but if you look at some of his previous fights, his opponents have been limited in the speed department. You get me? So that's something you've got to think of. Something else he also does, and I think this is very good, is he can adjust the tempo of the fight to the level where he wants to fight it at, which is good if he wants to fight at a high pace or a low pace. He can keep switching it around to how he wants it, basically. You look at the movement, and I got to give this one to Austin Trout. You know, Trout can be very hard to hit. He's very slick, a very smooth character. He moves around the ring a lot. He's very hard to track down. He's very hard to keep in one place. He keeps changing the pace of the fight as well to suit how he wants it, which could be a big thing in this fight, considering the changes Miguel Cotto has had to put in. Whereas what I can say with Miguel Cotto, you know, he's become a lot more flat-footed at this stage in his career compared to when he was at 147 pounds and 140 pounds. But he's still a top-level opponent in my book. You know, he did shock a lot of people with his performance against Mayweather, and he still may have 1 or 2 major performances left before the time is right for someone to really take over from Miguel Cotto. Looking at the boxing ability, and I'm going to give this one highly to Miguel Cotto. You know, Cotto is a very adaptable boxer. He's changed his style quite a lot. You've got to realise that from 140 pounds he's changed to 147 pounds, and then he's changed again all the way to 154 pounds. He's also changed his body mechanics, you know, throughout these weights on how he's carrying his weight. But he's also still managed to bring excitement to all the fights that he's been he's been fighting in. He's brought decent knockouts and good boxing to the ring. So that's one of the reasons that he's one of the more dangerous fighters. He's one of the more loved fighters to watch. And it's going to be hard to sometimes win a decision against him unless, let's say, the promoter has told the judges, yeah, we want you to predominantly look at this fighter that night, which can happen. When you look at Austin Trout, he's a very intelligent boxer, though. He's very adaptable also. He enjoys his movement, like I said. He likes to switch it up and throw different types of shots. He tries not to throw the same shot twice in a row. And he also doesn't like to get hit by the same shot twice. He tries to adapt his defense to it. He's actually got a very decent defense. People don't give him credit for that. He tries not to walk into traps, and he tries to set traps for other fighters. And that'll be something he'll be trying to do with Miguel Cotto in this fight. And lastly, I'm just going to look at the chin. And, I'm going to give the slight advantage to Austin Trout. As, he is undefeated. I don't think he's ever been hurt too badly, as a professional anyway. Miguel Cotto, however, has been stopped twice. Once by Margarito. And let's take away the controversy for a second, He also got stopped by Pacquiao too. And the first thing that people always say about Margarito is, well, he was cheating. And the thing is, they didn't change it to a no contest, did they? So for me, he wasn't cheating. And the thing with Manny is, they were saying, well, he was weight drained. Manny drained him. And well, that's Miguel Cotto's fault, isn't it? Because he accepted a bitch contract. If you accept a bitch contract, you really accept the bitch slapping you get from the bitch contract. So none of that shit flies with me, to be honest. He knew what he was getting into. But other than that, I'm going to also say that it's not totally Miguel Cotto's bad chin in this one, He took good shots. He was hurt by Mayweather in the final round. However, look at Austin Trout. I understand as an amateur, he got knocked clean out by Vane's Martirosyan. Yeah? Now, where do we rate Martirosyan on the scale of Paulie Malignaggi to Mike Tyson? He's not up with Mike Tyson, is he? He's well between, more towards the end of Paulie Malignaggi. So, how is his chin? It could be shaky when he reaches the top level. So, I'm just going to get straight into my prediction, and I'm going to predict Miguel Cotto wins this fight by unanimous decision.